Hey, it's Ramsey Dewey over here in Shanghai, China. So I've evaluated a number of fictional fight scenes, but now allow me to talk about one of my favorite fights of all times, regardless of style. Jack Dempsey versus Jess Willard in the 1919 Heavyweight Boxing World Championship. So without further ado, let's check this out. This is the fight that changed the world of boxing forever. Here we go. So they ring the bell. Jess Willard in the dark trunks. Jack Dempsey, the much shorter man, in the white trunks. Dempsey circling around. They tie up. And there were much fewer limitations in the clinch than there were before. Oh, overhand left. Dempsey ties up again. Again, Jess Willard was fighting in what they called the English boxing stance back then. A lot of people mistake... Ooh, heavy shot right there from Dempsey. Dempsey threw heavy, he threw hard, and there it is again. But yeah, Jess Willard fought in the English boxing stance, with a defensive boxing stance with most of the weight on the back leg. A lot of people mistakenly call that the Irish boxing stance today. It is a defensive boxing stance. Oh, the Dempsey roll! Right there! Oh, the Dempsey roll. Left, right, weaving under, moving back and forth like a speed skater. Throwing his weight into it. There was a massive weight and height difference. The second knockdown actually, right there. You'll notice Jack Dempsey was not required to retreat to a neutral corner on the knockdowns. Another knockdown right there, man. He is just mauling him, living up to the name, the Manasseh Mauler. In those days, a fighter was allowed to stand over his opponent until he was able to put both feet on the floor. Then he could knock him right back down again, as Dempsey does right here. Notice he does not have to return to his corner. Jess Willard taking a beating as soon as he's back up on his feet. Jack Dempsey goes to work, throwing left and right hands with volume and number, just throwing his weight recklessly into every strike. Jess Willard is very much a beaten man at this point in this fight. He broke his jaw in multiple places, broke multiple ribs, was just a bloody mess afterward. And right here, Jack Dempsey is imposing his will with impunity. Jess Willard doing everything he can to stay up on his feet. He was a prolific fighter for his day. He beat the likes of Jack Johnson for the heavyweight title. The legendary Jack Johnson. Oh, he's tied up in the ropes. Another knockdown. The referee giving him a mandatory count right there. And again, Jack Dempsey teeing off while Jess Willard is still tied up in the ropes. That was perfectly legal. Those were fair and legal blows back then. And that was it for the first round. Now, this was kind of a controversial fight because Jack Dempsey believed that he had won via knockout, or technical knockout in the first round. And so they began to celebrate, but then they called him back in for a second round, at which point he was able to finish off Jess Willard. I do not have that footage, but man, that right there, my favorite fight of all time, because it changed the world, not just of boxing, but of combat sports forever. You cannot afford to become dogmatic in your thinking about fighting, about martial arts. You can't. The sport of boxing has changed significantly every decade or so. I mean, it's an ancient sport, but it changes constantly. So a lot of people try to get dogmatic and tell you, well, this is the way boxing is trained. This is the way it's done. And some innovator comes along like Jack Dempsey and changes the game, changes the whole metric for how we do it. With some simple innovations. Changing the stance, changing the footwork. So, what are your favorite fights, real fights, of all times? Give me some links in the comments down below. Tell me what you think. And how do you think the world of combat sports, boxing, MMA, kickboxing, etc., is going to change, if at all, in the next 10 years? Thanks for watching. Now get out there and train.